An array list is like a set amount. An array is like a box. So this box has a limit. You can only fit this amount of items in it. If you go past it, the items will not fit and it will overflow like this. Another thing to remind yourself when considering arrays is that you have to actually specify a type. So for example, this box right here would only hold something like soccer balls and nothing else. So for example, if you have soccer balls everywhere here, but then you put a bat right here, then this would not fit. For this bat to fit, you would probably need to make another box, which we would think of as an array, and then put the bat inside this box, and then it would fit. So in terms of the actual code, you would need to actually specify a type and write this line. So this line that I've written is for an integer array, but you could make it a string array or a float array or a double array. So for example, if I want to make this a double array, I would just put double here and double here. So another thing, as I mentioned in the first part of the video, we have to actually specify the amount of items that you're going to put. So here, let's say we want to put 8 items, and we have to actually write 8. If we want 10, then we actually have to put 10. But it's not like an array list where we would just have an unlimited amount of things we can put in. We actually have to specify the exact amount that we need at the beginning. However, you could use something like a variable that the user gives you, the value that the user gives you, by putting it in a variable. So if you make this like I, and then get a user input using something like this, then you could see here, let's actually make this called value. Then you could see that we would get the number or the size we want for this array from the user. But again, you would still need to define it at the beginning, and it can't be defined at the later on in the process. Now, if you want to actually add values to this array, you would first need to initialize it. So the ideal way to do this is making a for loop and going through all the values. But let's say you just want to initialize the first one and assign it to 23.03. And let's say you want to print this out. So let's say we do this. Then let's say we want the size to be 3. Then since we've already specified the 0th index to be 23.03, that's what we're printing. Now let's say we want to add array 2 to be equal to 5.28. Then we would also be able to do that, but let's just change this value to something we know for sure. I'll take that out later. Okay, my mistake. Let me change this. Let's try to run this now. Let's also, whatever. But yeah, as you could see, we're getting this value now. So the main point to remember is that you do need to actually specify the length of the array, while in an array list you don't. You also do need to specify the type, the data type that this array is. Even in an array list, you're going to have the same thing. But to access specific indexes, you would just call which element, which index number, like each element belongs to. So if you want to call 5.28, then you would just call 2, and that would be in square brackets, within square brackets.